Imagine a world where giant predators roamed the land, where survival meant hiding in caves, fighting with stones, and relying only on instinct. In this dangerous world, one question mattered more than any other. How did the very first humans protect their helpless young? Without weapons, without walls, without civilization, how did our ancestors ensure the survival of their children against a world full of threats? Life, millions of years ago, was an unforgiving struggle for survival. The Earth was a vastly different place, with a dynamic climate, predatory animals, and constantly changing landscapes. Among the many challenges early humans faced, one of the most crucial was protecting their offspring. Unlike modern humans, the first humans lacked the complex tools, weapons, and social infrastructures we now take for granted. Yet, through intelligence, cooperation, and instinct, they developed strategies to safeguard their young, ensuring the continuation of the species. Understanding how the earliest humans defended their children sheds light not only on their survival strategies, but also on the evolutionary roots of social behavior, empathy, and familial bonds. The early human environment. To understand how early humans protected their young, we must first consider the environment in which they lived. Roughly 2 million to 6 million years ago, the world was dominated by vast savannas, dense forests, and unpredictable weather patterns. Predators such as large cats, hyenas, and saber-tooth animals roamed freely, posing constant threats. The first humans were not apex predators. They were omnivorous foragers, dependent on both plant and animal resources for survival. Water sources, food availability, and shelter were crucial for survival. Young humans were extremely vulnerable during their early years, unable to fend for themselves, climb trees effectively, or run fast. Their small size and limited physical abilities made them targets for predators. Thus, early humans had to rely on collective strategies, instincts, and the physical presence of adults to protect the next generation. Physical protection and shelter. One of the most fundamental ways early humans defended their young was through physical protection. Cave systems, overhangs, and natural shelters provided early humans with secure places to rest and raise children. These shelters were strategically chosen based on proximity to water and food sources, as well as defensibility against predators. When shelters were unavailable, humans often relied on natural barriers, such as cliffs, dense bushes, or thickets. Young humans were usually kept close to adult members of the group, either carried by mothers or older siblings, or kept in safe areas within the group's territory. Mothers and fathers alike would use their bodies as shields, placing themselves between predators and their children. The development of early tools also played a role in defense. Sharp stones, sticks, and bones were sometimes used to ward off predators. While these tools were primitive compared to later weapons, even basic implements provided a psychological advantage, deterring smaller predators from approaching. The combination of shelter and physical presence ensured that children had a higher chance of surviving the dangers of their environment. Social structures and group defense. The first humans were social creatures. Anthropologists argue that social cooperation was one of the defining features of early human evolution. Protecting the young was not solely the responsibility of the mother. Rather, it was a group effort. Extended families and small tribes worked together to keep infants and children safe. Social bonds allowed early humans to develop watch systems, where members would take turns monitoring surroundings for potential threats. Alarm calls, vocalizations, and gestures alerted the group to approaching predators, allowing caregivers to quickly respond. The first humans also used communal child-rearing practices, with older siblings and other adults helping watch over children. This collective approach ensured that even when mothers were foraging or hunting, the young were never left completely unprotected. Moreover, the presence of multiple adults provided a deterrent against larger predators. A cohesive group could work together to drive away threats, while solitary predators were less likely to attack a coordinated, vigilant tribe. This early form of teamwork laid the foundation for complex social behavior seen in humans today. Maternal instinct and early parenting. The maternal instinct was a critical factor in protecting early human offspring. Infants were dependent on breast milk for the first months of life, and the mother's presence was essential for both nutrition and safety. Maternal vigilance often involved constant physical proximity to the child, whether holding, carrying, or watching from a short distance. Mothers also used learned behaviors to protect children. For example, they would position infants in secure locations while collecting food, or hide children from predators by camouflage, covering them with leaves or placing them among dense foliage. Early humans likely observed predator behaviors and adapted strategies to minimize exposure to danger. In addition to protection from external threats, mothers played a crucial role in teaching children basic survival skills. Infants learned to recognize danger through observation and repetition. Early humans' reliance on maternal guidance was not just biological, but also cultural. These learned behaviors were passed from generation to generation, shaping the survival strategies of future humans. Communication and early warning systems. Communication was vital for early human defense strategies. While language as we know it had not yet evolved, early humans likely used vocalizations, gestures, and facial expressions to convey danger. Alarm calls alerted the group to predators, while warning signals indicated other environmental threats, such as approaching floods or hostile groups. Even without sophisticated language, the ability to communicate threat levels allowed early humans to coordinate responses efficiently. For instance, a mother could signal to others that her child was at risk, prompting the group to defend or relocate the young. Visual and auditory cues also helped children learn survival skills, as they mimicked adult behaviors and responded to signals of danger. Over time, these early communication methods contributed to the development of more complex social coordination, eventually giving rise to structured languages and strategic planning. Innovation and use of tools. As early humans evolved, so did their ability to innovate. Tools and primitive weapons became essential not only for hunting, but also for protection. Sticks, stones, and sharpened bones could be wielded to fend off predators. Some early humans even learned to create fire, which offered protection from nocturnal predators and served as a gathering point where young children could remain safe. The use of fire represented a significant evolutionary milestone. It allowed humans to extend their active hours into the night, ward off dangerous animals, and provide warmth and cooking, both of which improved survival rates. Children exposed to these environments could develop trust in group safety and learn techniques that would serve them throughout life. Furthermore, tool use encouraged the sharing of knowledge. Adults demonstrated defensive strategies and taught children to wield basic implements, laying the groundwork for culture, ingenuity, and problem-solving. Predatory awareness and learning to avoid danger. A critical aspect of child survival was learning to avoid predators. The first humans taught children to recognize threats, either directly through instruction or indirectly through observation. This learning process involved understanding animal behavior, identifying dangerous terrain, and recognizing warning signs such as rustling bushes or predator tracks. Young humans gradually acquired the cognitive skills necessary to assess risk, a trait essential for survival in a hostile environment. The early stages of education in predator awareness were not only protective, but also fostered intellectual development. Children learned to anticipate danger, make quick decisions, and adapt strategies based on environmental cues, a skill set that would define human evolution. Cooperation with other species. Interestingly, some early humans may have indirectly benefited from other species for protection. Certain animals, such as dogs or wolves, may have formed early symbiotic relationships with humans, serving as warning systems or deterrents against predators. These proto-domesticated animals provided an additional layer of security for the tribe, allowing children to play and learn under relative safety. While evidence of domestication appears later in human history, the beginnings of human-animal cooperation likely emerged millions of years ago. Such interactions highlight the ingenuity and adaptability of early humans in developing multiple strategies to safeguard their young. Emotional bonds and evolutionary significance. The act of defending one's young is deeply rooted in evolution. Emotional bonds between parents and children were essential for the survival of early humans. Empathy, attachment, and social cooperation were not merely emotional responses, they were survival mechanisms. Children who survived infancy were more likely to reproduce, passing on genes that favored parental care, vigilance, and social cooperation. Over generations, these traits became embedded in human behavior, shaping the complex emotional and social structures we recognize today. Protecting the young was not just an act of instinct, but a driving force behind human evolution itself. Challenges and limitations. Despite their strategies, early humans faced enormous challenges. Infant mortality rates were extremely high due to predation, disease, accidents, and environmental hazards. Survival required constant vigilance, adaptability, and cooperation. The harsh realities of life millions of years ago also highlight the resilience of early humans. Each strategy, from social cooperation to innovation and communication, demonstrates the ingenuity required to navigate a dangerous world. The constant threat of death forged traits that are now fundamental to human nature. Protection of the vulnerable, teaching the young, and working collectively for survival. Life millions of years ago was a precarious balance between survival and extinction. The first humans faced immense challenges in protecting their young from predators, environmental hazards, and social competition. Through a combination of physical protection, social cooperation, maternal care, communication, and innovative use of tools, early humans developed strategies that ensured the survival of the next generation. These defense mechanisms were more than mere survival tactics. They shaped human evolution. Emotional bonds, social cooperation, and learned behaviors laid the foundation for the complex societies and cultures that would emerge millions of years later. In protecting their young, early humans not only safeguarded individual lives, but also ensured the continuation of a species capable of extraordinary innovation, empathy, and resilience. The story of early human defense of children is ultimately a story of survival, adaptation, and the enduring power of care and cooperation.